Imagine, 1942. A routine letter with greetings to a grandmother passes through Nazi censorship. An officer stamps it "approved" and releases it. He has no idea that he is holding a death sentence for his troops, written directly on top of the lines. But in invisible ink? Sounds like science fiction? But for British agents, it was reality, where the price of a mistake was execution. Today, we will reveal the secrets of spy magic and answer two key questions. What sometimes shocking ingredients did spies use when they didn't have special tools at their disposal? And could the Germans really reveal these letters? Or was British intelligence invulnerable? Fasten your seatbelts. We're diving into the world of invisible secrets of World War II. During the harsh years of World War II, when every piece of information could decide the outcome of a battle or save thousands of lives, British intelligence mastered the art of hidden communication. At the heart of this spycraft were so-called magic, or invisible inks, an ingenious invention that allowed agents to transmit secret information right under the enemy's nose. Imagine an ordinary, unremarkable sheet of paper, seemingly filled with innocent notes or personal correspondence. But beneath this innocent facade lay entire fate-altering messages, revealing themselves only with the correct application. This technique became one of the key means of protecting secrets behind enemy lines, providing a vital communication channel between London and agents operating in occupied territories. An atmosphere of mystery and constant danger surrounded everyone who held such a message. One wrong move, one errant glance from the enemy, and exposure threatened not only the failure of the operation, but also the agent's life. Invisible inks were more than just a means of communication. They were a symbol of ingenuity, resilience, and the endless risk taken by those fighting for freedom. In the early 1940s, as the world plunged into the abyss of World War II, British special services, including the famous MI5 and the Special Operations Executive, SOE, faced an urgent need for reliable and discreet methods of transmitting information. It was during this period that the active development and implementation of magic inks occurred, becoming one of the most elegant solutions for clandestine correspondence. The history of these inks' invention stems from the search for simple but effective methods that could be used in the field without attracting attention. Scientists and chemists working for British intelligence turned their attention to everyday natural substances that possessed surprising properties. Lemon juice, vinegar, milk, diluted sugar solutions, and even some plant extracts became the basis for the first formulas. Their main advantage was that they left no visible traces on paper when dry, making the text absolutely indistinguishable to the naked eye. The methods of revealing the text were as ingenious as the inks themselves. The simplest and most common method was heating. When exposed to heat, from an iron, a candle, or even simply heating over a flame, the organic substances in the ink would oxidize and darken, revealing the hidden message. Other formulas required more complex chemical reagents that reacted with the invisible compound, making the text visible. These reagents could appear as harmless as plain water, but possessed specific properties when interacting with the magic inks. Many of these formulas were meticulously kept secret, which is a verifiable fact. Information about their composition and methods of revelation was passed only to trusted agents who had undergone strict vetting and training. This ensured maximum security and prevented the leakage of critically important data into enemy hands. Beyond their primary tasks, chemists tirelessly worked on perfecting the compositions. According to some accounts, this is a little-known fact. They aimed to create formulas capable of withstanding moisture and multiple checks for hidden messages. This was a true feat of chemical engineering at the time, as it required a deep understanding of how substances interacted and behaved under various conditions. The goal was to develop inks that would be maximally resistant to detection and destruction, ensuring the longevity and reliability of secret messages in the most challenging conditions of espionage. From 1941 to 1943, magic inks transformed from laboratory experiments into an indispensable tool for British intelligence operations. Their application in the field became a vivid example of the ingenuity and resourcefulness of agents operating deep behind enemy lines. British Special Services actively integrated this technique into their spy networks, creating reliable communication channels that were extremely difficult to detect. One such legendary spy network that successfully used invisible inks was the Lucy network. Lucy agents transmitted critically important information about German strategic plans, including intelligence on Operation Citadel, the massive Wehrmacht offensive at the Battle of Kursk. Invisible inks allowed them to disguise intelligence data as ordinary correspondence, which passed through enemy censorship without suspicion. Messages about troop movements, headquarters locations, and command intentions were written in invisible ink on the pages of letters, postcards, or even personal diaries that, outwardly, seemed to hold no interest. Agents skillfully combined the use of invisible inks with other intelligence methods, such as radio interception and encryption. This created a multi-layered system for protecting information. For example, some data might be transmitted by radio in encrypted form, while corroborating or additional details were sent via invisible ink, making it harder for the enemy to intercept and decrypt. Such synergy of methods significantly increased the effectiveness of intelligence activities and reduced risks for agents. The adventures of agents working with invisible inks were often accompanied by incredible stories. An anecdote tells of one British agent who accidentally swallowed invisible ink solvent during a mission. Despite this unfortunate incident, he remained calm, managed to finish reading the message, and ensured the rescue of a commando group. This story, even if embellished by time, perfectly illustrates the resourcefulness and self-sacrifice of intelligence operatives. The use of invisible inks was not merely a technique, it expressed the creative approach and incredible ingenuity of intelligence officers. In conditions where every mistake could cost a life, agents showed astonishing inventiveness, transforming everyday objects into means for transmitting vital secrets. They used their intellect and resourcefulness to circumvent enemy security systems, delivering crucial information that helped hasten victory. Invisible inks became a symbol of this unseen but desperate struggle, where the magic of the hidden word played a decisive role. By 1944, as the tide of World War II steadily turned towards its conclusion, and counterintelligence technologies and methods became increasingly sophisticated, invisible inks also had to evolve. The enemy was not idle. German chemists and security specialists were actively developing their own methods for detecting hidden messages. This constant opposition demanded continuous refinement of the formulas by British laboratories to stay one step ahead. With the advancement of counterintelligence technologies, new tests and methods for detecting invisible inks emerged. German specialists began to apply various chemical reagents, heating, ultraviolet radiation, and even microscopic analysis of paper to reveal the slightest traces of hidden text. In response, British scientists working in clandestine laboratories developed more complex compositions that were resistant to these new detection methods. This is a little-known fact, but British laboratories regularly refined their recipes. They experimented with new organic and inorganic components, creating inks that were even less visible and required specific, hard-to-access developers. Sometimes this meant developing multi-layered inks, or those that left a minimal, virtually undetectable chemical trace. The art of message concealment reached its peak. Agents could use inks that only appeared at a certain temperature or after exposure to a complex sequence of chemicals, making them virtually invulnerable to accidental discovery. Even after the war, the secret recipes for invisible inks remained an important element in the arsenal of intelligence and espionage operations. The Cold War brought new challenges, and the need for covert communication channels never disappeared. The methods and formulas developed during World War II formed the basis for further research in the fields of cryptography and steganography. A quote that well reflects the spirit of this period states, "Innovation in the shadows is our sharpest weapon." These words emphasize that it was the constant striving for novelty, the ability to adapt, and to anticipate the enemy's actions that were key factors in the success of British intelligence. Invisible inks were a prime example of such innovation, allowing an invisible war to be waged where direct confrontation was impossible. Imagine a post-war scene. A former agent, now well into old age, sits in his study. As a cherished souvenir, reminiscent of the heroic years of struggle, he keeps a small, inconspicuous vial of invisible ink. This vial is not just a container for a chemical compound, but a symbol of mystery, courage, and the invisible thread that connected him to the great battle for freedom. It serves as a reminder of the unseen deeds performed in the shadows, and how even the simplest means could become powerful weapons in the hands of those who fought for a just cause. The story of magic inks during World War II is not just a tale of chemical formulas and secret techniques. It is a striking example of how human intellect, inventiveness, and a willingness to take risks can become decisive factors in the struggle for freedom and justice. Invisible inks became a powerful symbol of the creative battle between intelligence and technology, where every hidden message was an act of courage and hope. In the context of total war, when information was priceless and the detection of a spy meant certain death, the ability to transmit secrets undetectably became vital. These inks allowed MI5 and SOE agents to maintain communication, convey intelligence, and coordinate the actions of commando groups, remaining invisible to the enemy. This was not merely a piece of technology, but part of a grand history, where even invisible text held immense, sometimes decisive, power. Of course, today, methods of information transfer have changed dramatically. Electronic communications, complex encryption algorithms, and global networks have replaced paper and ink. However, the lessons of World War II remain relevant. They teach us to maintain resourcefulness, inventiveness, and a willingness to take risks when dealing with information, regardless of how advanced technology becomes. Magic inks remind us of the importance of a creative approach to problem-solving, especially in conditions of limited resources and heightened danger. They show how simple substances can be transformed into powerful weapons in the hands of those striving for victory. This was not just a technological breakthrough, but a manifestation of a deep understanding of the enemy's psychology and the ability to exploit their blind spots. Ultimately, the story of Invisible Inks is a story about the magic of words, about the power of unseen messages that change the course of history. They serve as a living reminder of the thousands of nameless heroes who risked everything to bring truth and hope to the darkest corners of occupied Europe. And although the inks were invisible, their contribution to victory was evident and undeniable. And so our journey into the world of invisible secrets of World War II comes to an end. I hope you've learned a lot about how the ingenuity and resourcefulness of British agents helped turn the tide of history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next investigations. Share your thoughts in the comments. Did you know about these espionage methods? What other historical mysteries would you like us to unravel? Thank you for being with us. See you in the next videos, where we will continue to uncover the most amazing secrets of the past.